Hello, and welcome to the Invisible Cabaret podcast.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! We always do a little woohoo. I think it's lovely. Lovely. That's the spirit. Yeah.
It's either the spirit or it's just an awkward woohoo.
Yeah, maybe.
I love it. It reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Wasn't that what she just used to say over everything? Just like,
oh my gosh,
just, you know.
It was like that, wasn't it?
Literally, and I think you've done it perfectly.
Do you know what I am sad about? When they revamped Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the cat doesn't talk. Is that correct? I haven't watched it, but that's what I've heard.
In the Netflix one?
Yeah, if that is the case, that is complete sacrilege.
Salem the robotic cat from the 90s is the most iconic part of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Completely iconic.
He just has the best one-liners, I think.
You know, when I really think about my inspirations and why I wanted to be an MC and make people laugh, really, it all comes back to Salem the robotic cat.
I believe that. I'm here for that. I think that's fantastic.
Iconic.
Yeah. Right, I feel we've got off topic.
Yeah, can I introduce us again? Is that all right?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, okay. So hello everyone and welcome to the Invisible Cabaret podcast. I'm Rosie Verbose.
I'm Ferrero Rochelle.
We are making a podcast because we are a burlesque and cabaret troupe devoted to raising mental health awareness, but we are currently not doing that because COVID and things, and so we put ourselves on a sort of like very glamorous furlough whereby we are now talking about what we'd like to be doing and also deep diving and delving into the lives and inspirations of our troupe members, friends, amigos, pals, etc. So welcome, we're glad you're with us. Woohoo!
Woohoo indeed. Just like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I think.
Hashtag woohoo. We are delighted to be joined today by the fabulous Bolly Ditz Dolly. Hello, my love.
Hello!
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, my love, I'm good. How are you?
I am surviving, thank you for asking. We're putting one foot in front of another, I think is fair to say.
That is a mood. That is such a mood right now.
Right. We're delighted you're here with us today. Thank you for taking time out of... What is your schedule like at the moment? I was going to say, is it busy? Is it not busy? What's your lockdown looking like?
Well, it's been quite cathartic, I suppose. I think it's just a good time for me to kind of narrow down everything. So work-wise, I think I'm feeling strong about that. So that's quite good.
Cathartic and strong. These are good words.
Forgive me, Bolly. Do you have a side hustle aside from being a fabulous burlesquer, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh no, of course not. I mean, I do. I've done a bit of hospitality work here and there. I used to work in an office, but I wanted to steer away from that. I think now I just do a bit of freelance work and working with my mum at her school every now and again. So
cute.
Yeah, lovely.
It's like part-time relax. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we are hoping to talk to you much more about how you got into burlesque, because that is always an interesting story, no matter who you talk to, I think. But before that, do we do it before? Yeah, we do it before, I think, because we've just introduced you as Bolly Ditz Dolly.
Yes.
Now, that's not your given name. That's not the name your family decided on. I was going to say parents, but it's family.
Just imagine them as fairies now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Fairly Odd Parents. That's exactly.
Oh,
really going on a 90s TV show.
So, Bolly Ditz Dolly, where did that come about? Why that name?
I like the idea of having a triple threat name, you could say. So Dita Von Teese is like dish, dish, dish. Mm-hmm. So I thought about Bollywood and my love for it. And I thought about what I was used to be called, which was Dolly. And I guess it kind of linked to the baby doll sort of element. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well, I kind of bounce in between and I find myself pretty neo. And I guess Ditz was coming out of it. And I was like, well, I can identify with Ditz. Easier. So just slapped it in the middle.
Amazing.
And a very good name it is too. I didn't know you used to be called Dolly. I had no idea that was like before burlesque. Often I think with creatives we can spot that we're going to be creative from a really early age, no matter what the field is. I think it's lovely to have that kind of extension into your childhood, being like, yeah, I was sort of this person already. I'm just kind of catching up with it.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
It almost fell together organically. I just think that's so rare for a name. I know that people really do kind of agonize over getting the name just right, and yours just kind of fell into place, which I'm sure it did take a lot of work as well, but one of my faves, I think.
Yeah, it's a cracking name. So let's talk about burlesque then. Ditz, where did it all start for you? Were you dancing and performing as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Classic.
I think a lot of the times I go back and go, yeah, you know, we used to watch some films, and like at some point my mum would turn them off and just say, oh, well, look, you know, you got Bollywood around you. And I think that included learning and just dancing to your own rhythm.
Yeah.
Like I've always wanted to get into drama and performance. So I started studying at Barking Dagenham College. I got a BTEC in performing arts, and then I explored more of my studies when I went to university and just started studying English Lit. I don't know why, I just kept missing the sort of performance side and the dancing and everything like that. And then I started, I guess, reading about burlesque, and it just kind of fit together. It was kind of euphoric.
That's lovely. I think that's something that Ferrero and I can definitely relate to.
Massively. Yeah.
Even though you did drama as part of your degree, didn't you, Rosh?
I did. But when it came to kind of choosing extracurriculars, I was kind of torn between all the different things I wanted to do, and then acting just kind of immediately called to me. And then really at uni, you can, if you did more than one, you weren't really committing to it. So I had to choose what I was going to commit to, and the performance bug had bitten me. So yeah, I definitely identify with that. It's this yearning, a calling, a called home.
I've definitely tried to ignore it at points because I am naturally quite an introverted person, which some people refuse to believe about me. But if you know me well, you know that I'll be curled up with a book before I'll be at a party. You know what I mean? That's a gross generalisation, but you get me. But if it's in you, I just think it's got to come out some way. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the stage, but it has to come out somehow, doesn't it? For your mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I massively agree.
So what drew you to the burlesque classes? How did you end up with doing the House of Burlesque, Tempest, Rosie stuff?
It was just one of those, like, throwing it into the wind. I guess I saw a few of their performances, and I saw them at Sway. I was like, I like how they're vibing. All of them come together and do this, like, sort of, I don't even know what to call it, like, oh, we're ready to fucking go stuff. Yeah, and I was like, hi, I really like what you're doing. And then, I guess I signed up for a one-to-one with Tempest.
So you didn't do the classes, you just went...
I decided to do a one-to-one because I had, like, experience of going to dance classes and not really fitting in. And so I felt like just to kind of safeguard myself, I wanted to kind of approach the teacher, and I knew she was doing one-to-ones, so...
Holly, I think that is so badass and so brave and so true to yourself. I think if I had an experience of going to dance classes and not fitting in, I just would be like, well, that's not for me because I'm not as brave. So to actually think, I know I want to do this, so I'm going to go right to the source.
But fuck those guys, I'm going to the source. Yeah.
I think that's badass. That's so cool.
Well, thank you. I think it's hard to go into any sort of like dance or gym or something when you feel like you're not really connecting because you have, I guess, some things going on. So I think lockdown has kind of helped show people we can take some like of the classes and do it at home as well.
Right, sure.
I think it's a nice reminder.
Yeah.
When you got good internet.
Yes, that's the proviso, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It's right though, and I hope that can't remember if I said that before in a podcast, but I really hope that the lessons we're learning about that will continue when physical stuff starts again, because like as someone with chronic pain who travels very poorly, being able to go to a life drawing class or a burlesque class or something from home is dreamy. And of course, I guess your burlesque is how would you describe your burlesque rather than me doing it, actually? Because I think it's fusion-y, but I can't say it better than that. So please, how would you describe it?
There's a little phrase people we say when we're dancing, and it's bolle.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a little I hear it all the time when I've been dancing and stuff, and I usually say it's like, oh, bolle, and it's like time to kind of like really get down in bhangra. At some point, I was even doing it to the to other performers that I'd see on stage, and I kind of get embarrassed. It's just like they probably have no idea what I'm saying. But it was more like the expression of just as soon as I'd hear it, it would be like an alarm clock, and it's ready to dance. So if I was to describe myself to fit in that burlesque world, it's like just scream bolle and I'm there, I suppose.
Love it.
I love that, because describing that phrase immediately makes me think it's steeped in, heritage, and it's steeped in tradition and a specific style, but it's also energetic and modern and inclusive.
I think did I tell you guys? Because I think with the Bolly Ditz, I know a lot of people link it directly to Bollywood, and it was like I was looking at the outer shell of Bollywood and thinking, but they don't represent, I guess because it's a lot of, it's old-fashioned. And because I've seen people take like elements of Bollywood and turn it queer and turn it into drag and turn it into so many different things, I was like, this is the Bollywood world I've always dreamed of. And it came true. And then I was like, where would I fit in there? It's like, well, I'm just the ditz that's just like,
ta-da! I think that's fabulous. And how lovely to have that sense of not only I want to perform, but I want to be part of this understanding of what I'm representing. Like I want to further that understanding for other people and be that dream, essentially. That's gorgeous.
Really makes me think of what you were saying when we first started working on your elephant piece, and about how you're taking what is a traditional view of mental health and making it the elephant in the room and parading it across the stage and modernizing it and including, topical icon artists like Cher, who's talking about it. And making it something way bigger than the original understanding of it. Is that correct to say?
I'm so like glad, because I never usually ask people what they think of my acts or something like that, because I like having that sort of, you can enjoy in your own interpretation. But like hearing that, it's like, oh my God, it worked.
That's so good. How do you think your mental health has intersected with your performance, Bolly? Has that been a drive for you at all?
Oh, it's been interesting, because I think I'm quite sure of myself, but I find that when you step into something new or you step into a new world, it's almost automatically like being sure of yourself means you're completely put together. Looking back at some of my work or some pieces, I did find myself thinking, like, I'm enjoying myself, but am I feeling safe? Am I feeling like after the performance, do I feel like I can have a little moment to relax and stuff? So I didn't know that until I started performing, that I was like, no, I should it's just like after you do a workout, you should have a stretch session, just kind of chill out or something. I've noticed how many times I've got in the headspace after a performance of just feeling stressed, and I guess jumping straight into like meeting people, sometimes it helps me kind of like know I'm doing something good. So it's nice to interact with audience, but I think it's my weirdness or something. It's only because it's literally like, I've just been on stage and you all saw me naked, and it's like
again, Rosh is like, yep, can relate.
Yes.
Strongly.
Because it can be very, very vulnerable being up on stage, can't it? And the kind of aftercare part of that people can forget.
Yes. Oh gosh. It's like, I know this sounds naive, but I guess being like British born Indian, I didn't realize like how many people had never seen this sort of stuff before. So it's that pressure, and like it's never going to be pressure where I'll feel like I'm not good enough. It was just all this time I was just like, if people hadn't seen that before, I was like, no, it's out there, like, you know, you just have to go see it. And then I was suddenly became, oh my god, I'm one person, I guess, who's part of that.
So when you say pressure, do you mean pressure to communicate something that a lot of people may not have seen or identify with, like you feel a lot of weight on your shoulders to communicate that message or communicate that style of performance?
Yeah.
Kind of representing an entire almost genre.
Yeah, definitely. There's that thing of like using your voice and portraying something where people can understand. If people don't understand, that's okay.
How do your family feel about you doing burlesque? Have they come to watch you perform? Are they fans? I'm sure they are fans.
I hope they're fans. They'll be really awkward. They always knew, like, from like performing arts, and I guess I never told anyone else that I used to write poetry in uni and stuff, and I used to perform that. So when I told them about burlesque, I started saying, letting them know that I was doing jazz classes and getting back into dance. Eventually I was like, I'm also going to start going into burlesque. And my mum was like, is that like the glitter and everything and the, you know, spark? She just kept talking about the material. She was like, is that when they wear the big poof things? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, and then they take it all off. She's like, where does it go? I'm like, it goes somewhere. I had to kind of like tell my mum and dad, like reassure them and say, you know, it's like some people do different things, and what I was doing was just, I didn't know how to say to my dad, I'm trying to be sexy.
Yeah. It's a weird conversation, right?
But they were really supportive. They just, it sounds weird because I guess it might just be an Asian parent thing of just saying like, you know, but you're going to make like, you know, what else is going to come from this? What else is going to, you're going to produce, or you're going to direct, or are you performing? And then
how interesting.
They really wanted to be open to it.
So you basically came and said like, not really asking for your approval, I'm just letting you know.
I wish. I felt like saying that to them just to, because they knew that like sometimes when I've come into the room, I'm like, Mum, I am hungry. So they know that I'm like a bit dramatic. So I think maybe if I came in like that, I don't think my mum would have just been like, okay. But because I sat her down and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I'd show her a bit of my like drawings and stuff. I think she understood that it was more than just what I've said, getting on stage and getting your baps out.
Yes, fair enough. It is such a holistically creative art form, isn't it? There's so many parts to creating an act, and you do end up kind of being costume director and producer and makeup and all the rest of it.
And I do think that whilst, you know, essentially burlesque is stripping, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there shouldn't be a stigma surrounding, you know, stripping as a profession, I do think that certain family members and friends and people who might not be necessarily massively receptive to it, there is a almost a need to kind of assure someone, you know, it's you know, it's safe and it's performative and it's glittery and there's big costumes, and when you're explaining what you do, you kind of tailor it to who's listening.
Sure, for sure. It's almost like kind of having to describe the world that you're going into rather than the actions that you're going to be taking, isn't it? You know? So like even with your mum that's saying, you know, what's the material like, which I think is totally iconic, by the way. Immediately being like, who clears it up? Where does it go? Like, these are the questions. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, you kind of have to paint a picture for them, don't you, of being like, well, this really supportive environment of, you know, where we're, because that's all any parent wants, surely, is for their child to be safe and nurtured and in a community that's going to be nice to them.
And I think it's something I don't know if we all talk about it enough or at all, or what it must be like to be a parent of a burlesque when it's a world that you don't understand or that you have never been a part of before. It must be quite nerve-wracking. It must be quite nerve-wracking as a parent because, you know, we're their babies.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I know for me, when I first spoke to my parents about them, I was very defiant, like, this is what I'm doing. But also, wanting to reassure, like, it's all good. I'm happy. Everyone's happy. We're all friends. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. We're all good here. Thank you when you were saying about burlesque and stripping, and even like, say, with sex work, I feel like that needs to be a lot more protected because I think when everything has come onto the mainstream, that's when everything gets jumbled up.
For sure.
Like with sex work, I try and look at it as like as delicate as possible and kind of align myself away while giving the support, because I know that these people are doing it like every day. You know what I mean?
Sure, for sure.
And we're doing this like every once in a while, and it's not for anything else.
People do have different stances on it, and some are much more kind of one end of the spectrum than the other, aren't they? And some are very blurry in the middle. It's not all, you know, if you say burlesque, actually you could mean a whole bunch of different things.
There's definitely people who align themselves with both, which is great. I think the worst thing to do is just turn those two worlds against each other, because we all do the same thing. And that's what I was trying to explain to my mum once.
I totally agree,
And I think I had to do the thing of going through Instagram. I was like, this is Invisible Cabaret. This is Coca Better Club. This is Bitten Peach.
Trying to communicate it as best as you can.
Yeah.
And that's all anyone's really trying to do, isn't it?
Has your family seen you perform, Ditz?
My mum was going to come to Idol, but my nan wasn't well at the moment. So she, I think Mario was just like, I guess, messaging her like, she's going on stage now and stuff.
Oh, Mario's the partner for any listeners.
Yeah, he was my partner and like my my PA to my mum. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Bolly won Burlesque Idol, was the winner of the competition.
Woo!
Yeah.
So Burlesque Idol, let's talk about it. The act that is my total fave.
Ros said along the lines of, she's eating on stage. It's like just so excited about it.
I was a bit obsessed.
I think I remember you saying something about like the juxtaposition of it, or the fact that you're a burlesquer getting naked whilst eating. How refreshing!
Apart from all, totally. Apart from all the other things you can say about it, about how you were bringing a completely different heritage to the normal stuff we see of the kind of American cheesecake burlesque type thing. You brought samosas in and kind of like also talked a little bit about kind of like adverts and the media's representation of things. And I was upset. I still am, mate. I still am.
Sometimes just seeing cake acts, and I was like, I think one time I was just like, yeah, but I would eat a samosa.
Right.
And then that's sort of like the wheels started turning. And then I was just thinking about, there was times thinking about how my mum would make food and like bhajis and samosas, and she'd take them to like the school fete, and she'd have tubs of stuff and everyone would just eat it. Like, she'd raise good money for the school and stuff.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, my versions of making them are a bit like, let's say, not even.
Diplomatic about that.
That's my new campaign. Just not even. Sounds weird, but I was thinking about racism, and I was just thinking about food being like packaged and sold off. And I saw a political campaign with this guy called Sajid, who used to be part of the Conservatives, and one of his campaigns was more or less like, talking about, I come from a family of immigrants and stuff. And in the campaign videos, just him with his family, it's like, hey, have a samosa. And then it just goes on for stuff that he promised but just didn't happen.
Right.
And I think I was watching like, how dare you take food for your political campaign and you don't even like teach them how to cook them. You just like, here's...
I see what you mean. So it's like samosa's sake. Like, oh yeah, look, I'm not white and I'm in the Conservative Party and look, this is like so normalised and look, here I am with my family having a samosa, blah, 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 but not actually addressing anything further than that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like, samosas for samosa's sake. Whereas you're like, well, actually, I'm going to do a piece about making samosas or...
The true glory of it rather than bunging it, here, have a samosa.
Yeah.
Do you cook, Bolly? Do you like to cook?
Oh, yeah. I think I've told you guys about the weird stuff I make.
Creativity in the kitchen.
Yes. Yeah. All the creativity. There's so much food out there. Like, I get so excited. So even like the name Ferrero, Rochelle, just like... It's just...
I actually haven't done an act based around my name yet. Although I do have an act where I'm wearing like sweets and stuff, but it's not along the same lines. But I definitely want to develop. We've talked about this before, haven't we?
We have, because a few years ago I wrote a song about Nutella, which is, you may or may not know. It's the chocolate goodness inside a Ferrero Rocher. So I would ideally like to get it to a point where Roche can sing and fling with my Nutella operetta, as it is known. That's the dream.
The Nutella operetta that's in 3 parts.
In 3 parts, yes, because it's highbrow.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm here for it. But no, I love the joy of cooking. I think just everything coming together. I just felt like it was like, oh my God, look, it's like magic. Like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, we're come full circle. My goodness. Woohoo. Indeed. Well, we've been chatting for a while now.
We have.
I think. Do you think we should
wrap up for today?
Wrap up for today. I think that might be good. I don't love either of you. I'm just getting a bit hungry. No, we've been talking a lot about food, so
mate.
That's gonna happen.
Usual, we wrap up with the question of what are you grateful for this week? Bolly Ditz Dolly. It's a very difficult time. Trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh boy.
What's that light? What are you grateful for this week?
Okay, I've been watching this blue tit fly around past our window, and I was like, oh, this is really sweet. Maybe because blue tits are hard to find. And then I was sitting outside and I looked up and there's a hole and they're living in there. So I found the source, and it's like, that's what I feel great. I've got pets by accident. So that's what I'm grateful for this week.
Oh,
adorable. I love birds.
That's so sweet.
That and sausage rolls.
Yes, fantastic.
Homemade or store-bought?
Oh, homemade. Mario made a few. That sounds like an innuendo, but
partner's sausage roll is what you're grateful for.
Hey,
there you go.
Hey.
It's a family show.
Got to bring the cabaret innuendos in somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, those are lovely things to be grateful for. Rosie Verbose?
So I also am enjoying feeding the birds outside because I love them and they remind me that life is going on, that they don't have any clue what's going on with us humans. Maybe they do. I don't know. I haven't asked them, but I don't think they have. And they just they're getting their nest sorted and they're feeding their young. That's their shiz. And I have a lot of respect for that. But I can't say birds because that would be copying. So
what have I done?
Do you know what I can say I'm grateful for? I'm really grateful for books. I am grateful for being able to slip into reading for escapism. And also I have been looking at a lot of reading lists about everything that's going on in the world at the moment. I'm not really particularly talking about the pandemic, but where we are socially and where our intersectional morals and ethics are going, and the things that the world is being called accountable for, quite rightly. And I'm really grateful that we have such a wealth of information at our fingertips, which obviously means also we've got like no excuse to be ignorant. But I'm grateful that all this information is there, because I don't want to be ignorant and I want to understand what's going on. So I'm grateful for both fiction and non-fiction that is extending my empathy and empowering my empathy with history and hard facts.
Did you need to extend your empathy? I'm pretty sure pretty
my empathy was already quite stretched.
I've always said Roz is the most empathetic person I've ever met in my life.
I'm not gonna lie. That feels like facts that no one knows.
I'm not lying there.
No, I am pretty empathetic already, but I think I mean, like I already know I care about everybody and don't want anybody to suffer unjustly. But I also need to know what it is that people are suffering with the evidence, rather than just the kind of abstract notion of don't want anyone to suffer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good to take that time.
So that's what I'm grateful for. What about you, Ferrero Rochelle?
Well, I'm quite grateful for books as well. I'm currently doing the 52-week book challenge, and I had a look at my bookshelf and realised it was incredibly white, and that upset me. I told myself off for it. So I am currently in the process of updating my books. I've got 4 brand new ones that I'm really excited to read. But I can't say books because that'd be copying. So, gonna get soppy. But I am very grateful for the people I currently live with. For those who don't know, I live in a house with actually 4 other people. But 2 of them are away, have been away during lockdown. So we've had quite a nice sizable house that I have shared with my lovely boyfriend, Matt. Big up, Matt. And his best friend. And it's been wonderful, actually. I'm really... Matt was even saying it the other day that he's really grateful to be quarantined with the 2 of us because, we all get on really well and there haven't been any quarrels or upsets. And yesterday I had a really wobbly day and I was feeling really down and just laid on the sofa in the living room and got really upset and just didn't want to do anything or speak to anyone. And the 2 of them, I live with boys, boys are smelly, boys don't get things. And they were both lovely and put on a Disney movie and shared food with me. And then made me hot chocolate, and I'm so grateful for them. They're really good dudes. So, yep.
Aww. That's so wholesome.
Good eggs. So
very good eggs.
Oh, eggs, even eggs. Good Lord. Right, we need to go get something to eat, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. That might be a plan. Bolly Ditz Dolly, thank you so much for joining us on our Invisible Cabaret podcast. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Is there anything you're doing or proud of or involved in or supporting that you want to give a shout out to?
I think I'd give a shout out to London Bi Pandas. Just kind of the very strong bunch of people in that group I've been blessed with to speak to and get a better understanding of where I'm heading and where I'm going. And I'd like to thank everybody in my life.
It's become an Oscars speech all of a sudden.
Oh my God, yeah, that's what I feel like it's going to be. So I think I'll wrap it up with one for today.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thanks for having me on board from kitten to performer to friend.
It's our privilege, darling. We can't wait to get creating with you again when we can, as soon as we can, whenever that may be. And thank you guys for joining us. And if you'd like to learn more about the troupe, you can find us online at invisiblecabaret.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter, but we are mostly active on Instagram, so go there first if you want to. Lovely. All right, let's go get some nosh. Hooray!
Yay!
Bye-bye.